Welcome to another episode of Reading with Pak Steven. I have an exciting new book for you. I think it's a little bit funny. Let's wait and see. So, this story is called A Stinkily Funny Tale. Pooh, is that you? And it's by Claire Helen Welsh, and the illustrator is Nicola O'Brien. Yes, it's not set in Australia, this one. This is somewhere else. Somewhere beautiful, though. Pooh, is that you? Let's see. Maybe you can work out where we're going to. Lenny, the lemur, was on holiday in South America. He had found the perfect spot for a sunny summer snooze when all of a sudden the wind picked up. A horrid, stinky smell wafted under his nose. Pooh, is that you? He glared at a millipede crawling towards him. I don't think so, said the millipede. But I do let out a stink when I get scared, like this. The millipede curled up into a spiral and squirted. Lenny gave the squirt a sniff. It was definitely disgusting, but it wasn't the whiff he could smell. Lenny closed his eyes and he tried to put the smell out of his mind, but the nasty sniff hung around. Pooh, is that you? He said to the stink bird nesting in the mangroves. Sorry, said the bird, a little embarrassed. I do make a bit of a poo pong. It's all the leaves I eat. Oh, I've never heard of that bird before. Lenny gave the stink bird a sniff. She was definitely pongy, but it wasn't the whiff he could sniff. There was a rustling in the grass ahead. Someone wants my sunny sleeping spot, thought Lenny, moving back into the sun to continue his snooze. But out ambled an anteater. Look at how long his tongue is. Pooh, is that you? Lenny asked the anteater. Are you the horrible smell interrupting my snooze? Maybe. Possibly. I do stink. But have you asked the skunk? He's way smellier than me. How rude, called the skunk. Who was playing in a hollow? He's upset, the poor skunk. Lenny gave both the anteater and the skunk a big sniff, but neither was the whiff he could sniff. He settled down in his sunny spot to try and snooze, but it was no good. Whatever it was, that nasty sniff was getting right up his nose. Pooh, was that you? He said. He asked a tiny stink bug clinging to a leaf. Well, you did frighten me, the stink bug replied rather crossly. And well, that makes me smelly. But when Lenny sniffed the bug a second time, he realized it still wasn't the whiff he could sniff. I need some fresh air, Lenny said, holding his nose and climbing up higher. Poor Lenny. But up in the treetops, the smell was stronger than ever. Pooh! Was that you? Wasn't it? He said to the sloth lounging in the branches. You're the whiff that I can sniff. The sloth wasn't bothered at all. I am a little bit smelly, she replied slowly. I knew it, said Lenny excitedly. It's probably stopped other animals from eating you, doesn't it? Like the skunk. Not so, actually, said the sloth. You see, by the time I get clean, I am already dirty again. The greenish tinge you see on me is algae, and it can get quite a stink. Yuck, thought Lenny, but he wasn't interested in the details. He just wanted to sniff the sloth and nail that nasty niff. He took a deep breath and ugh, you do stink, but it's not you either. Lenny was completely fed up. Have you tried the giant pelican flower? Said the sloth. She showed Lenny the way. And eventually, a little time later, when they arrived, Lenny leaned over the plant and took a deep sniff. I think you can find this plant at the Bogle Botanical Gardens. It was definitely the worst thing he had smelt that day, but the giant pelican flower was not the whiff he could sniff. Poor Lenny's sunshine snooze was ruined. The other animals gathered around him. What's the smell like? Asked the millipede. Maybe we can help, said the stinkbird. Well, said Lenny, it's musty and stuffy and a little bit icky, and it seems to be hanging around me. The millipede and the stinkbird took a deep breath, then looked at each other and giggled. Pooh, they said. Lenny, it's you. Me? Said Lenny, me? It can't be. And he carefully sniffed his wrists and shoulders. Woo! So it is. It was me all along. Happy that he'd found the source of the nasty niff at last, Lenny set off for his sunny summer spot with a spring in his step. Now that he knew it was his own whiff he could sniff, he didn't mind the niff at all. Wait, called the stinkbird. What do you use your smell for? Watch this, said Lenny. Oh, we're off. Finally, some peace and quiet, said Lenny. He settled down in his perfect spot for a sunny summer snooze, when all of a sudden, the wind picked up. A dirty, sweaty, cheesy niff wafted under his nose. Oh, he said, is that you? Was it you? Did you do it? Were you smelly like Lenny? I don't know. Well, that brings us to an end of another Reading with Pak Steven. And don't forget, these books will be available in the library in a couple of weeks. See you later.